For as long as I could remember, my family meals were at the restaurant. As soon as I was old enough to carry a plate, I was put to work. It certainly wasn't planned that the business would do what it was able to do. It's really not my story, it's my mother's story. My mother's name was Patel. She had gone from India to London to be a nurse, and then she came here in 1965. She went for lunch at the Four Seasons Hotel. They had an Indian lunch. Well, it was probably the worst food she's ever had in her life. The executive chef came out and he said, "Oh yeah, you show us how to do it." Well, did she show them? She opened her restaurant, Indian Rice Factory, in 1970. And I retired the restaurant portion of our business in 2013 when we handed the space over to Fat Pasha and in Anthony's stewardship.
What I do know is the legacy that she left behind and what she meant to culinary freedom of choice in Canada in general. How's my hair? My name is Anthony Rose. I'm born and raised in Toronto, and I have 5 restaurants all on Dupont Street. Rose & Sons, Big Crow, Schmaltz Appetizing, Fat Pasha, and Patel. Dupont Street was historically just like this blue-collar throughway. Gas stations, diners, rental companies, and plumbing stores. So it wasn't like a street that you really dined on until much later.
It's been a real patchwork from block to block of what Dupont really is. Originally, 414 Dupont Street was a motor repair shop. It would often be I'd come home and she'd be busy cooking and there'd be a dish ready and she'd just look up at me and say, "Take this to R2 or table 4. I'd place it and say hello to the customers, come back, do a few things, and then finally she'd say, "Oh, hi, how are you? Did you have a good week at school?" "Yeah, Mom, I did."
My mother had such an intense influence on my cooking. What I love about cooking in Toronto is that I'm around my family.
When I walk in, every time I have a little bit of a rush of emotion. My mom used to wear glass bangles and gold bangles, and there's a word chunuk of them, the clinking sound as she moved her hands or stirred a frying pan. Those sounds are very, very much still part of my core. And those are some things that I don't think I'll ever be able to forget. And quite frankly, a sound I miss. Yeah. So we have a slab of concrete at the back. It was actually out on the sidewalk on Howland. This is mine. This one here is my mom's. And this one here is my grandmother's. And you can see her beaded bracelet right in here.
Mom came to us one day and said, "Would you like to take over Indian Rice Factory?" We're just like, "Yes, absolutely, we want that place." The menu at the point was very Middle Eastern, and then it kind of dawned on me, I know Jewish food, well, what if we just put them both together?
I was glad that Anthony and his team took the space over because they've carried that spirit of the way my mother cooked every day.
Our community efforts are just making sure that, we're making good food for the neighborhood and supporting our staff.
I've grown up on Dupont Street, and I seem to keep gravitating back.
I lived away for about 10 years. When I had my son, all I wanted to do was make sure that at some point I was back in Toronto. Thousands of people moving into the neighborhood in the next 3 years. I think the future is very bright.
You asked me earlier what community was. Well, community is also the past, it's the present, and community is also what the future will hold.